I am style like a rose, and this is the path that shows. And just like a flower, I will blossom to the first light. There comes the rain, then comes the cold, then comes the sunlight. I will grow, I will flourish, just like a rose.
And a special Rosie welcome to another exciting episode of the Style with Roses talk show with me, Rose Sibisi. This season is exceptionally exciting and one close to my heart because we're taking a journey with women who have been in the diaspora and they found their way back home. We believe there's a lot of value that comes from our brothers and sisters and many of our family members who have gone out into the diaspora, coming back home to share their skills, their knowledge, big picture thinking, and so many value adds, but most importantly, just them finding that special place back home. Today is one of those guests that I'm speaking to today, the lovely Natasha Chiumya. She is the managing partner of Folotiya Chiumya Associates, as well as the founder of Diaspora Connect. So what she's doing is she's encouraging our family members, brothers and sisters to come back home and find a special place for them to connect with. Don't miss this exciting episode. I will be right back in a bit with the lovely Natasha Chiumya.
Just like a rose. I am style like a rose, and this is the path that shows. And just like a flower, I will blossom to the first light. There comes the rain, then comes the cold, then comes the sunlight. I will grow, I will flourish, just like a rose.
So Natasha, one of the things that we do, you see, I like it that you're already in the
Oh my
zone.
gosh. This is a hot seat.
This is a hot seat where we do our Rosie Minute, just to get to know you better. So quick questions, don't overthink it. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
It's not an exam. We just want to break the shell and see where is Natasha at. So in 2, 3, and 1, first thing you do before you travel.
Make a list.
Floors have tiles and doors have?
Doorknobs?
No? Okay, no, I'm not supposed to say that. Batteries have negative and positive, while directions have?
Up, left and right?
Okay. Shirts have buttons and books have?
Pages.
Okay. How many colors are there in a rainbow?
7.
You're a sharp cookie, you. What do you call a time span of 1,000 years?
Millennia.
Okay. How many degrees are found in a circle?
0. Oh, 360.
I gave that away. So before you eat, you?
Wash your hands.
Okay. You shake your hands with?
The right hand.
Okay. You drink water out of?
A cup.
If you're bald, what hair color do they put on your driver's license?
Bold.
Yeah. Okay, they put both. The color, what is the color be? And your driver's like, okay, this one's interesting. So someone is bold, what hair color would they put? Because they don't have a color.
Well, they can't put brown because they're bold.
So we'll just say you bold. Okay.
Bold.
Do they have the word dictionary in the dictionary?
Of course.
Oh, okay. So anyway, it looks like we've got a clever one with me. I'm going to enjoy this. She really is a lawyer. So I'm looking forward to going onto the couch with Natasha in a bit. This is Style with Roses with me, Rose Sibisi, and I'm hanging out with Natasha Chiumya. Don't go away and join us as we experience her journey. See you in a bit.
Just like a rose.
Welcome back to an exciting episode of Style with Roses. This is Rose Sibisi, your host, and as usual, I've got someone phenomenal that you get to know a little bit more about in case you didn't know. Today I'm hanging out with Natasha Chiumya. She's the managing partner for Folotiya Chiumya Legal Associates, or is it Associates? I'll let her tell us what that is. But most importantly, she's also the founder of Diaspora Connect, which is why we're here. If you remember this season, we're dealing a lot with our hidden figures and women who have come back home from the diaspora and making a change here in Zambia. Welcome, Natasha.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited because this thing that you're doing, and I mean, I totally resonate. From the diaspora, with all the bells and whistles and that cushy life that you have, you leave that behind to come back home. But just from the beginning, how long were you in the diaspora for and where were you?
Well, I was in the UK for about 5 years, and it was mostly for school.
Okay.
My A-levels, my law degree in the UK.
Right.
And then I left after a few years again for studying purposes, and I went to South Africa. I was at the University of Cape Town.
Right. And then coming back home, so the inspiration behind it's actually two women, hey?
Yes.
Founded the law firm. Tell me about that, Folotiya Chiumya.
Well, actually, it was very interesting because me and my partner, Tandiwe Miko, had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
But me and her weren't friends. And I decided, I had this thought in my mind that I wanted to start a law firm. And I was thinking, who can I partner with? And I somehow heard through our mutual friends that she was planning on leaving her job at the time.
Right.
So I got in touch with her and I said, would you want to partner with me? And she said yes straight away.
Wow.
And it's been a happy marriage ever since.
Very good marriage, because we've got this myth that says that women can't work together and all, but you've been running this firm for how long now?
We are now in our 13th year.
See, 13 years, that's a whole teenager, Natasha.
It's like raising a child together.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what does that mean? So you've got Folotiya Chiumya Associates, that's the legal firm with your partner Tandiwe, but then you've now founded Diaspora Connect. What's the inspiration behind that and how are you balancing those two?
So the inspiration to form Diaspora Connect was really actually born out of the work that we were doing at Folotiya Chiumya. So we found that we were doing a lot of property work, a lot of the large developments in and around Lusaka, our clients. And through engaging with those clients, they were selling hundreds of plots or maybe hundreds of houses. We obviously got to act for a lot of their buyers, and a lot of their buyers were in the diaspora. And when I started talking to them, they started to tell me about how difficult it is to buy land or property when you're out there abroad.
Very true.
And I was really surprised because this is our everyday work. So for us, it's straightforward, it's something that we work with every day.
Yeah.
But to hear their stories of being swindled by family and friends, not knowing who to trust, coming across a property that's for sale and you don't really know it's genuine.
Right.
Then I began to see that there's a real genuine need to provide a service that really caters to this group of Zambians who are abroad.
Fantastic. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to hear more about how Natasha is actually facilitating a passage for people in the diaspora to have a safe place to come back home. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break.
Just like a rose.
And welcome back. So just before the break, Natasha Chiumya and I were talking about how challenging it is sometimes to find a special piece of home when you're out in the diaspora. In case you've just joined us, I'm hanging out with Natasha. She is the founder of Diaspora Connect, but also managing partner of Folotiya Chiumya Associates, which is a legal firm. So you talked about this gap that you identified through the legal firm. Why is it important for people in the diaspora to understand that they can use legal channels to actually acquire property and land and all of that back home? How does that work?
It's so important, Rose, because every day I hear horror stories from people who live in the diaspora of, sending money to not even extended family, but siblings, brothers, sisters, and that money just going down the drain. Yeah, exactly. And you see, the thing is that I always tell people is that, the way we're raised, and especially the way we are counseled when we're getting married, you don't know the problems that your brother or sister may have in their home. True. So when you're sending them money, it's like Jesus has now answered their prayers.
Yeah.
Yes, and that money
fasting
will be...
and prayer response.
Yes, exactly. With your money. Yes, so I always tell people, use a professional. And not only is there that family element, and I must say it's very corrosive when that happens, because you're never going to take your brother to the police. Mm-hmm. You're not going to take your sister to court. Yeah, so it really fractures the family. And for me, that's really heartbreaking. Why not just pay someone to do it for you and have that level of accountability? Right. So that's the personal aspect. And then the other aspect is the credibility of that buyer. You might see a property that you like, but how do you know that the credibility of the seller, how do you know that that seller is genuine, that they actually own the property that they want to sell? How do you know that the person who's putting themselves out as their agent is really their agent?
Right. Yes. I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that, Natasha. Not to cut you short, but just to collaborate what you're saying is there was someone who bought land that's by the river, Zambezi, Lower Zambezi. It's by the river bank. By the time this person who's been in the diaspora forever comes back, they find this land is somewhere in the Bundus, the middle of nowhere. It's nowhere at the riverfront. So is that where then your legal services come supporting the type of service you're offering?
Absolutely, because on the legal side, we're able to do a due diligence for our clients. So we had a client from the UK just the other week, saw something on Facebook, and at least she had the good sense to get in touch with me and say, Natasha, please check this out. So it turns out that the person selling wasn't even the owner. She was a tenant of a very short-term lease.
Wow.
Now imagine if she had just thought, oh, this looks really good, let me send the money. Yeah, she would never have seen that money again.
And these times are hard. So I see where you're reconciling the support for diaspora. And there's also the aspect of, why do you think it's important that people in the diaspora still find value or a piece of land or a home back home? Why is that so important?
You know, that's the question I ask all my clients actually. So every time I complete a property transaction with a client, I have a one-to-one with them. And I ask them that question to say, you're in London, you're in Atlanta, you're in Sydney, you're wherever. Why do you still want to buy property back home?
Right.
And they all say the same thing. They all say, Natasha, home is home.
Home is home.
There is nothing that can compare to home. Here, yes, we have everything. You know, you've got great facilities, things work, there's a system, you know, things get done, people are on time. But at the end of the day, especially I find that as people get slightly older, there's that yearning and calling to have something at home.
Very, very true.
And also, there's an important aspect of leaving a legacy for your children, which they can really call theirs. And there's nothing that beats having a piece of land at home and being able to pass it on to your kids.
That's what Africans are looking for now. I like that people are really coming back into their own and wanting to find their own way and have a special piece of themselves back home and just a trustworthy source. So you're doing a great job in facilitating that for them. Those are just such wonderful examples of how people are dying to come back home. And on that note, we will take a quick break, and when we come back, we get to hear Natasha pass the rose. Don't go away.
Just like a rose.
Back, and if you've just joined us, we're having a great conversation with Natasha Chiumya. She is the managing partner of Folotiya Chiumya Associates, with a female partner of hers, as well as founder of Diaspora Connect, which is the part that we were most interested in. In case you haven't been following, Style with Rose's theme this season is the hidden figures in the diaspora. We believe there's a lot of value that is coming out from Zambians and Africans that are out in the diaspora and their desire to reconnect back home. So, the other kind of special African and Zambian is the rural girl child, Natasha. So there is this special little girl who may not have the opportunity to have been in the diaspora, may not have the opportunity to have probably seen anything using technology, but maybe has heard something on radio or TV. We have this tradition on Style with Roses, particularly for you to inspire a young little budding rose who would one day want to understand the possibilities of what you can do or what they can do, so that they know that they too can dream on. I'd like you to find that special kind of Zambian, the little girl, and speak to her, inspire her through your eyes, and tell her what it is that can be for her. And I'm going to hand over this rose to you, so that through your eyes you can then explain to this little girl how her journey also can be. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rose. But first of all, before I do that, I just need to commend you on this great initiative. especially wanting to reach out to those young rural girls. We mustn't leave them behind. We need to embrace them and encourage them. So, kudos to you. But to that young little girl in rural Zambia, what I want to tell you is that God has such a wonderful purpose for your life. You wouldn't be here, you wouldn't have been born if He didn't have a purpose for you. And so I would encourage you to be brave and to be courageous. You don't have to settle for the environment that you find yourself in. If you have that dream, that wish, that yearning inside your heart for something more, then it shall be. But it will require you to be different from everybody else around you. And sometimes that can be very scary, but it takes a lot of courage. And if you're willing to seek the guidance of God, to seek His purpose for your life, if you're willing to go on His path, then everything that you desire, all those desires of your heart will come to pass. And don't feel that what you've seen your friends do, what you've seen your relatives do, maybe they've gotten married very young, maybe they've had children very young, don't think that that is your portion. If you have a different dream for your life, then have the courage to stay the course, and all shall be well.
Oh, wow, that was so moving. So, in closing, obviously, we want you to continue connecting people in the diaspora, and everybody will be watching you online. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
So for Diaspora Connect, they can just go on to buying property in Zambia on all the social media platforms. And that is YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where I have a lot of information on property and real estate in Zambia. And then we are also on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook, and I do a live every Wednesday. Yes, and we are on Twitter. I think on Twitter we're buying property Z.
Nice.
Yes.
We hope you have enjoyed it as much as we did. We know we couldn't cover everything because there is so much more to do with the diaspora coming back home and finding that special place that they can reconnect with. In case you just joined us today, I had Natasha Chiumya, who is the managing partner of Folotiya and Associates, as well as the founder of Diaspora Connect. So very well able to take us on the diaspora experience. This has been Style with Roses, and we know that we will be back with you next week with another exciting personality to give us some insight into the value that the diaspora bring back home. For us from here, we always just remember to remind you that whatever you do, you must always bud, blossom, and flourish, because that's what roses do. Until the next time, bye-bye for now.
Keep on chasing that sunlight. You can flourish if you do try. Blossom, let them see you in your new shine. Shine like gold, bloom like a rose. It's a long way from the ground up, but you keep it moving, keep it non-stop. Shine like gold, bloom like a rose. Shine like bloom, just like a rose, just like a rose.